Okay, welcome back to the Mario Mancini show. And as you can see, our guest is not here. And I've got some breaking news. He's not going to be here.
What do you mean?
What I mean, he had some personal things to take care of. So he sent me an email about an hour and a half ago. I said I'd surprise you and not tell you. However, I do have a replacement lined up, and he's currently on his way home, just trying to set up a few things. And I'm not going to tell you who it is. He's just going to come right into the stream.
Oh,
So that could be interesting. If he shows up, he says he's got to on the way home. He's got to set up a few things. So we'll see what happens.
this is the Undertaker.
I haven't got 250,000 on me. Oh, sorry, Mark. Sorry, Marks. Actually, the two Marks. I gotta apologize.
All right, listen, you got heat now. Now you got heat with Mark Henry because he said a number. See, I could talk about it now without saying a number because I don't want any of my brothers mad at me. Past, present, or future. So I try not to say much.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, this man was in the news again today.
Yeah, well, listen.
After last night's podcast.
Listen, I just said what I observed. If people would like to rewatch the speech when he put it to the jobber in Rochester the same night that I worked with him, and then Vince met him at the curtain and said, you're a real a-hole, for doing that to that kid. And that night is when he learned about respect, and he was talking about respect, blah, blah, blah. But then he said squash job, and he went, oh, enhancement talent. He made fun of it, man. He poked fun of it. That's not cool. Listen, again, you watch the Dark Side of the Ring. And you know what, man? Ryan, why do you have to bring that up, man? Why do you have to bring that up?
What is this about?
I don't want to talk about that, man, because Roma almost kicked the hell out of me for real. He gave me a spinning back kick that missed my nose by that much. He would have broke my nose in so many places. Roma was mad. All right, Ryan, let me tell you the story. So Lisa Sliwa was the wife of Curtis Sliwa, the Guardian Angels in New York City, right?
Okay.
So she gets a hold of the office. She wants to be a pro wrestler. So back in the 80s, there were no wrestling schools. There was, the Hearts in Calgary, and we had Tony Altomar in Connecticut, and you had people in Minnesota and stuff, and so they were very rare, very far and few between. So she came to our school, and we were training her. Well, the office decides to come down and do a piece on her. So Gene Okerlund goes, hey, you mind if she hip tosses you? And I'm like 19 years old. I'm like, yeah, okay. Not thinking. So I let her hip toss me. And then Gene goes, Mario Mancini, what do you think of Lisa Sliwa? And I go, oh, Gene, she's tough. They cut it. Oakland goes, Roma's out on the floor, working out, I know what he was doing. He was doing tricep pushdowns, right? With the rack, right? With a 45-pound plate with a pin in the rack. And, the rack wasn't enough for him to do triceps. He had to put a 45-pound plate on it, too. So I go walking up to him. Hey, Roma. Yeah. Let's get in the ring with Lisa Sliwa. Everybody's here from the office. Get in the ring with He goes, get away from me. No, Roma, be good for you. Get away from me, Mancini. I go, no, Roma. He drops the weights and he spins. And it just missed my face by that much. And I walk back into the ring at Gene and I go, I don't think he wants to do it. The next day, I was booked on the Regis and Kathy Lee show with Lisa Sliwa. She was going to throw me around on the Regis and Kathy Lee show. I told Roma, he drilled me. Are you kidding? It's bad enough that you're jobbing out every week on TV. You're losing every single week. Now you're going to go on national TV and do a job for a woman? You're going to go on national TV and do a job for a woman? Are you out of your mind? I was like this. So I slept in. Tony Altomare went down. I slept in. The phone rang. My mother said there's some guy, Gelb, on the phone from New York City. He was the producer of the Regis Catholicia. He goes, I just want you to know you fucked up the whole thing today. You'll never get a job for ABC TV for the rest of your life. I'll make sure of that. I go, or I can get on a train, come down to New York City and rip the spine out of your back. And before you fall, I can dangle it in front of your face. And he hung up on me.
Does this happen in the WWF?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't like the office was telling me to go do Regis and Kathy Lee. It was just off the cuff. I was going to go down and do Regis and Kathy Lee after Roma was done with me.
Do you regret not doing it?
No, that was the right call. That was the right call.
Ryan, if you're still there, Paul Roma is on the show in a few weeks. If you want to get involved in the chat and ask him about his version of events, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer that question for you as well.
Yeah, when Roma was done with me, I was supposed to get up like at 4:00 in the morning. I was supposed to be at the Milford train station, ready to take a train down to Grand Central to go to the studio to do the shit. No. No, just stayed in bed, didn't show.
While I was kind of thinking about will our guests get here or not, it's such a mystery. I was thinking about, let's talk about people that we've never talked about before.
Like who?
If I said the name Nails to you, do you know anything about this guy? He was the guy in the steroid trial that kind of was hanging Vince out a little bit. You know? Not going to speak on him?
No, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know him? Okay, yeah. He's a guy that's kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. Hopefully Scott Wilder can find him. Scott Wilder says he's on eBay. That's the only place he is, selling autographs for $15. Nobody has seen him in years.
Well, no, I don't know. Who else you got?
Well, we never really talked in detail about Ted DiBiase.
Oh, well, what's there not to say about Ted DiBiase? I mean, I saw Ted over the summer at the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Albany, and I had to remind him, my buddy Kevin, as he was sitting next to me, I think he'll get a charge out of that story for the rest of his life. When we were in Baltimore and Ted was late and he was walking by tables, and he walked by my table and I said, yeah, I know you're not going to walk by me like that. And he looked and he went, oh, Mario. And he dropped everything and, hugged me and everything like that. Ted DiBiase, I like to put in the category as Greg Valentine and Kurt Hennig and the Samoan family and the Hart family. He's wrestling royalty. He's wrestling royalty, Ted DiBiase, and he was a master technician in the ring. So DiBiase was the total package. Not only could he talk, not only could he really sell a gimmick, but he could work like crazy. He could work. One of the greatest wrestlers I ever worked with, and he's a hell of a guy. You know what? They could put me on a torture rack. I'll never say a bad word about Ted DiBiase. And I sat next to him. I was staring at him in Albany, and he's just looking at me, laughing. I go, you really don't know why I love you so much, right? Other than work, I worked with you more on TV than anybody. I go, I got the most matches with you than you ever have with anybody on TV. He goes, yeah. I go, you really don't know, do you? And he looked at me honestly, and he went, no. I said, Ted, the last time we worked together on TV, you looked up at the board, and when I told him the story, he goes, Mario, I remember. I understand. I remember now. I remember. We were running out of things to do. You know.
This is Mario's booking agent, and he's not too happy about certain things that have been said lately. I told him that he's going to have to hire Ron Simmons and John Layfield to look after
you. You're only supposed to make me laugh this hard in private, you son of a bitch. And
told
you know
him.
what? There's an example right there of working for Scott Wilder and going on the road with him, because he comes out with stuff that you don't see it coming, and it just hits you, and you like. That's why I love the guy. You know what? He's one of those rare guys that's outside of the wrestling business, but you treat him like he's inside the wrestling business because he's just like him. You know what I mean? But anyway, if DiBiase looks up at the board and it says DiBiase v. Mancini, and he looks at Strongbow and he goes, and I'm standing behind him, and he's like, I got Mancini again. He goes, every time I'm on TV, I'm working with Mancini. And he looks back, he goes, no offense, kid. I go, none taken. And Pat comes walking up. What's the matter? He goes, every time I'm at TV, I'm working with Mancini. He goes, I'm not working with anybody else but Mancini. He goes, why don't we just run an angle? And I went, and Pat just walked away. And I went, and I never forgot that. I never forgot DiBiase going, why don't we just run an angle? And that little sentence right there, if somebody listened and said, you know what, that'd be kind of interesting, my whole career would have changed. Just because DiBiase said, why don't we just run an angle? You know what I mean? So he didn't have to say that. That's why you'll never hear me say anything bad. You'll never hear me say anything bad about Jake Roberts. You know what I mean? While everybody was squashing me, and I couldn't get a punch in, I start a match with Jake Roberts, and we start the match, and I slam him. He goes, slam, boom. You know what I mean? He didn't have to let me do that. You know, and for a lowly jobber in the 80s in the WWF, whatever crumb that you were thrown, you appreciated it. You know what I mean? You just appreciated it. So
Ian doesn't like the word jobber. He thinks it's disrespectful to you guys. Ian's a very big wrestling fan here in Ireland, and he loves everyone.
Well, listen, I'm not a human Viagra. You know what I mean? Listen, I'll tell you what I've said in 24 podcasts. You're watching Seinfeld, okay? And Elaine and George and Jerry and Kramer are at the diner they're always at. And they're doing their lines at the diner. And while you're watching the show, there's some guy with the white hat on that works in the diner behind the counter. They're going, wiping down the counter in the background. He's just enhancing the scene as a worker in a diner wiping down the counter. That's an enhancement. That's not me. And if there's two names to choose from, I'll take the jobber. I have no problem with it at all. At all. You know what I mean? I don't, some people equate it to like James Ellsworth depicted it as, you're in a Mel Gibson movie and they're in a mall and you're just one of the shoppers, walking down the mall with a bag in your hand. You're an extra. No. You know what an extra is? An extra are those people that came dancing and singing, Jose, 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 Jose. What was his name? Was that his name?
I have no idea.
Come on. He was a wrestler.
Oh, no way, Jose. That one.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
way, Jose.
No
I thought
way,
you were.
no way. Oh, all right, 6, 7 people around him. Those are extras. I had a pair of boots on. I was in the ring. I wrestled not only on TV but house shows. I was under contract with the WWF, and I was there for practically 8 years. I didn't enhance a damn thing. I just did my job. You know what I mean? So, like I always say, there's somebody that has their grandkid on their lap, and the kid's 6 years old, and they're going, "Poppy, can we watch your match again?" Yeah, and they go on YouTube and watch the match, and goes, "I want to watch another one," and he goes, "Yeah, I'm sorry, Danny, I only had one match with the WWF, and I never went back." That wasn't me. Unfortunately, you got to watch me get my ass kicked every week on a consistent basis.
Consistency.
Yeah. So, you know what? No, I didn't enhance a damn thing. You know, I'm not calling it.
Oh, there's someone at the door. Someone at the door waiting to be let in. Right here. Chris.
Brother, how are you?
He kind of just slid over it.
Hey. Figure we give you a little surprise, brother.
Oh, what a pleasant surprise.
I toast your health, and I'm happy to say that we're still around. You know, we're a dying breed of guys in this business.
Yeah, we are. We really are. Without a doubt.
Did that surprise you, Mario?
It surprised the hell out of me.
I'm happy it's a good surprise for you.
Yeah, it really is. It really threw me off.
Yeah,
how you been, man?
Well, I'm good. I mean, I know you remember me when I came out with doing Team Splendid. I was doing that with Bobby C. It's an old school gimmick. A lot of fun. And we went up to Paradise Alley with you guys a couple of years back when it was brand new. So it was so underdeveloped, but it's actually done well. To say a guy at my age, I'm pushing 62.
Ooh. But
in the last couple of years, in the last 5 years, I've held 3 titles.
Oh, God bless you, man. God bless you. I'm 56. I can't do it anymore.
Brother, look at me. I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Yeah. Wow.
I ain't dead yet. I'm going to be the poster child for guys in my age category because there ain't no quitting me. I'm an Army vet.
God bless you. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for your service too, because I saw you. You saw many arena lights like me.
Yeah. I was on my back quite a bit. Yeah, I was able to look at the beautiful construction of the arena of the ceilings.
Right. Nobody knew the structural integrity of ceilings better than jobbers.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's true. I wear that badge with honor.
Yeah, you know what? So do I.
You know, and the thing that these guys don't understand is that, you know, back when we broke in, there was something called the boot. I know you remember it. And they don't have it anymore. And that was the way of weeding out the serious guys that legitimately wanted to be in the business and what we would affectionately call jock sniffers. Now they call them fanboys, but we call them jock sniffers back then. Would that be accurate?
Maurice, the show is now, you realize this show's going to be a bust now, right?
No, I just
I'm not going to live through this. You know I'm not living through this.
I just got to tell you one thing, though, Mancini. Don't be stirring no fucking shit tonight because my name's on the line because I'm sitting here with you, okay? I don't need to be jumped in the back alley of the blanky, you know, because all these guys hate you now. You know what I mean? I gotta realize that everybody else wants to beat me up for my own crap. I don't need yours too now.
$5 for an 8x10, $10 for a combo. My price went down.
Phew, I was thinking $5 combos just to get them through the door.
What do you charge for the reach around?
Well, I mean, all these. I'm gonna the ass woman I'm gonna take for bringing this guy any place. He's gonna have to give me the reach around for free. You know.
There's a glory hole. Anyway.
So Mario Mancini stirring up shit again.
Listen,
But
man.
you know what the good thing is, though? You know what the good thing?
I don't
Chris,
make this stuff up. I don't make this stuff up.
I know you don't, and that's the beauty of it. You're telling the truth.
I don't make it up.
You're not lying. That's the beauty of it. But you know the other nice part of it is that your name's out there in everybody's face again. So instead of saying Mario who, they can say, oh, Mario Mancini. He's the guy that's bashing the Undertaker. At least they'll know who you are.
This is true. This is true.
If you've been in the body bag, raise your hand.
I think I might be shortly.
I've never been in the body bag, thank God. They didn't have. I was the first guy he worked with. The body bag wasn't there yet.
Lucky you. I got the body bag. The thing that kills me. Yeah. If you look at the 1991, my real name, Bill Pierce versus Undertaker, 1991, he only had one tattoo. It's still at Bassett Racing. And the body bag, it was black, but geez, you know, God forbid you go out and buy black duct tape. No, they had gray duct tape on the black body bag. I'm like, oh, God, really? How shoestring budget can you get with this crap, right? So I looked at it, I was laughing at it, and he actually stepped on my throat when he did the foot gimmick. But, you know, I'm inside the bag, so he couldn't tell. Thank God he was holding back. You can imagine if he was like, you know, if he really laid it down.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
When you got in the back, did you tell him?
I was like, bro, you caught me in his heels. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But thank you for everything you did. You know, and look, I worked in Nasty Boys with Phil Apollo. You remember good of Phil?
I know Phil.
And we went in. Phil got the pit stop. I was happy I didn't get the pit stop, but I got the shit slapped out of me by Phil and Brian in the corner. Both of them, one hand, boom, boom. Both of them, windmill, beating me down. And you know, today's wrestlers would have went back there crying. Why did you hit me so hard? I went back there like, brother, was it okay? He's like, Brian Knob, smile, brother. With tits. Next time, you won't do shit. Next time I worked him, went in, couple spots, take my partner, see ya.
Yeah, don't go in the bathroom with him. Well, listen, I took.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Don't go in the bathroom with Knobs.
Ask X-Pac.
I took that. I actually, one of my partners at Paradise Alley's, Paul Perez, we tagged against them in like 88 against the Nasty Boys, and I ended up catching that damn thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, really? I got the snake on me. My hair cut, spray painted by Adrian Adonis, cow tied like a piece of cattle by the Funk Brothers. Now my face has to be moshed into an armpit. But seeing pictures in recent days, I'm glad it was just his armpit, Scott Wilder.
Well, you could have been.
Well, the other one was
on the receiving end of
It does look like a pit.
The pit stop looked like a walk in the park compared to the stink face.
Oh yeah, the stink face.
How do you prepare for that?
Yeah, I don't. All I know is I was standing there, and it was in the New Haven Coliseum. And, you know, I was standing there with Perez, and they start coming out, and I looked at Perez, and I went, I hate these guys. And Perez is like, what are you going to do, you know? And I really didn't hate him.
Oh, gosh.
I like Sags. He was always cool. always. And now Knobs is cool with me. You know, I you know, when I was in the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, I went to the bathroom and he was, in there doing his business and stuff. Not that business, Scott Wilder, but he was doing his business in there. And he's like, "Hey, Mario, how you doing? How you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, man, how are you?" And all I could think of is, so it's.
You didn't try to shake your hand. That's really,
Well, yeah, it's all good. Like, I'm good with everybody now. I'm good with it. I wasn't good with one person. Now I'm even good with him now. So, but did you do a lot of independent stuff, Chris?
I'm actually, well, they keep on saying ECW original. If you were not part of Eddie Gilbert's booking, you are not an ECW original. Because then that will take Chris Candido and Johnny Hotbody and me, the Suicide Blondes. We were the other trifecta that Eddie booked me for back then. It's when Todd and Eddie had the falling out that Paul Lee came in and brought all the guys down. Dreamer, Taz, Sabu, the list goes on. Once we saw Sabu wrestle, we all realized that we were done. The only thing we were going to do that was going to outshine Sabu was shooting somebody in the ring, because what else could you possibly do?
Right.
Me and Salvatore Bellomo, we had a big feud for the longest time inside there. I was actually the first guy to bump a woman in ECW. I bumped Sherry Martel when she came out to try to do a thing with Wildman Sal. So there's a lot of the original Eastern Championship Wrestling guys. Iron Man Tommy Cairo, another one. The funny thing is, the only guy to survive the sweep for that thing was Hack Sandman. The only guy from that entire bunch that survived everything. And Johnny Hotbody was the guy that got them that building. That's now considered the ECW arena. And, it is what it is. The business is the business,
I got to ask you, Chris, that's a gorgeous piano back there. Do you play it?
Believe it or not, it's a fake background because my house is jacked up right now. So I put a fake background. If you look, you can see it's messed up. This is actually my studio downstairs.
Well, I'm a mark. You got me. I marked out to it. You got me.
Gee, I wish I had this. I would have enjoyed your level of success in the business.
Let me ask you something. You ever work in Connecticut?
Sure. A couple times. I'd like to do a little bit more before I finally hang my boots up. But I got to try to drop a few more pounds, setting up my home gym, and I'm getting ready to rock and roll because by June of this year, I'm back in there, full swing action. No, you don't hold nothing back. I'm going to show them.
Did you ever work for Northeast Wrestling?
Who's the owner? Booker.
Well, he's a little guy. He's like I don't know, 4'11", 5 foot. He's probably as wide as he is tall.
4 feet 11. He's Italian.
Well, yeah. So he's one of those guys. If you put your hand on his forehead, he'd be going like this, Mikey Lombardi, little Mikey Lombardi. He owns an independent pro wrestling company called NEW. And Vince McMahon Jr. He's not, but you can't change that in his mind. Anyway, you ever work for that guy?
I worked for a NEW, but it was in New York. It was called New Evolution. But I did hear of that other NEW.
Yeah.
I just recently was former tag team champion for New Age Wrestling out of Massachusetts. Held the titles for 3 years.
I used to love working in Massachusetts.
Richard Blake, I love New Age Wrestling, and when I tell him, I gave him a shout out tonight. It is a Christian-based wrestling organization. They don't preach religion. They only pray before the show. They do their thing, and then they're just nice people. And
well, let me ask you then: is every match a babyface against a babyface? And
no, actually, you got the guys are getting a little bit out of control because I haven't been up there for almost a year. because a lot of new wrestlers, and I'm sure you'll, the guys throwing the punch, to me, it looks like fuck you all the way up to your shoulder, or the guys that are slapping their thighs. So I see, it looks like you're slapping mosquitoes at a summertime barbecue.
Hey,
It looks
Chris,
ridiculous.
did you ever watch the whole show? You ever watch the whole show? How many super kicks are thrown? About 40? Everybody throws them. Everybody throws them.
Well,
Everybody.
look, you'll remember a time that a body slam was a finisher. A fisherman suplex or a perfect plex, that was a finisher. Superfly got to that top rope. You weren't getting up from that. But these guys are kicking out of stuff that they shouldn't be kicking out of. And that's when you guys like you and me to go out there and say, you know what? No, I stomped you in a corner for 20 seconds and you walk out, you're not limping. Guess what? Now you're going to get a stiff shot.
Right. You get a receipt.
Learn.
You get a receipt.
Right. You're going to learn. Because if you think you're coming out there with your Uber Eats delivery body, coming out there looking like ham and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm out there nearly 62 years of age, and my body looks better than yours. You fucking suck.
Yeah.
I'm not holding back from this because it's just not right.
I
don't look. I like Sonny Kiss as a person, but if I saw him in a dark alley, I'd mug him.
You know what I haven't heard of in a while? Maybe you know, Scott. Remember the guy that would air grab your nuts?
He's long gone. He's cancelled. He's done.
Yeah, right. The guy
Joey Ryan.
with the
he was over for a long time.
Joey Ryan.
Yes.
Well, that just shows
He's
you
done.
See, he didn't stick it on mine, so that just showed us how well he impressed us. He may have been a nice guy. It was a quick, cute gimmick, but
he was selling out places.
I'll tell you kind of what happened, if I can, legally, if I can. Well, there was a lot of accusations made during COVID-19 about wrestlers doing stuff to people, and some of them may have been perhaps underage. So he left the business. Then he got a job in Disneyland. Someone took a picture of him. Then he got fired from Disneyland.
Have you seen what Disney is doing lately? He fits right in with that thing.
Hey, Mario. Maybe if back in the day, maybe you grabbed somebody's junk, maybe you would have been a little bit more than you were today.
I would have been over.
You would have been definitely over.
Yeah.
Just ask Bushwhacker Luke. There's video of him rubbing someone's nuts when he was giving him a body slam.
Listen, I never gave Pat the wink. Hey, Pat. You know what they used to tell me? You used to go, Mario, you want to get ahead a little bit? Listen, you don't have to do anything to them. You just have to lay on your back and let them play with it for a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I'll keep losing. Thanks. No, thanks.
Now you take that in a heartbeat, huh, Mario? All Mario has now is his damn cat. And his cat gives him shit now, you know?
Listen, speaking of Ireland, I am the epitome of Gilbert O'Sullivan, which happens to be one of my favorite songs of all time.
Oh, Alone Again Naturally?
You got it.
Mario, I love you. That was my mother's favorite song. God rest her soul.
Alone Again Naturally.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you. You just made my night by saying that. You
man. I love it. So it's like it's just like these guys today. They back when we worked, it was what's the finish, what's the high spot, and we went in there and called it in the ring. You know what I mean?
How about baby faces and heels in different dressing rooms?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and you don't go out together. You're not seen together. It just doesn't exist anymore. That's why.
And imagine after the show walking around with crutches for a week selling your leg because kayfabe was alive then. Kayfabe is dead. There should be a headstone in the cemetery when Vince killed it. Vince Jr., I should say, revived wrestling and killed wrestling, all in one generation.
Yeah,
and now,
and for what? For money.
Look,
for money, because you know what? If he said it wasn't a sport, he didn't have to hit off the state athletic commissions in every state anymore. So if he said,
Bingo,
I'm the circus, well, he saved all that money. You know what I mean? So am I going to get criticized for that? Because that's the truth. I mean, that's the truth. You know,
well, look, you had a wrestling commission that was complicit with lying about a fake outcomes, fake things, this and that, showing results. And you go into the New York State Athletic Commission, win-loss results like it's legit. But then again, back in those days when wrestling was going on, wrestlers had cauliflower ears. They don't have them now. No. Tough guys. And I gotta say, Mario, this is the best surprise I had today. Today I was having a shitty day at work, and then all of a sudden, this 6-pack of potato Irish Mick calls me up. And just so you know, I'm half Italian, half Irish. I'm hung like a fucking cashew. Right?
Yeah, well, I'm all Italian. I'm the same way. We can't all be Scott Wilder.
Hey, Bill, I know I don't know you that well, Bill, but if Mario Mancini is the biggest thing that's happened to you in a while, man, whew, you just got to get out a little bit, buddy.
Only today, but
the guy doesn't even have 10 toes. You know what I mean? He only has 9. He's a little short there, too.
So that means you can only count to 19. Boy, you're screwed, pal.
Listen, I don't need the fans coming in going, how come you only have 9 toes?
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Holy shit. Listen, send your foot pictures to Tony Atlas. He'll love it.
Now, listen, I'll correct you like Tony corrects everybody else. It's not the feet. It's the
shoe.
It's the shoes.
Well, that's
Can you?
I can't tell you how many people. Yes.
I don't care how tough Tony Atlas is, man. Could you see what he would look like if Mancini stepped on his face?
Hey, listen, I was going to make a comeback. That was going to be my finish. I was going to take my wrestling boot off and hold up my right foot, and he would see I only have 4 toes, and he would just leave the ring. I'd win by count out.
All you got to do is take your boots off and put on a pair of boat shoes. The skippies, the white skippies, he loves those.
Oh, yeah, Atlas does love those. He does.
I can't tell you how many girls I got for him to stand on his face. He's like, Chris Michaels, you see that girl right there? Come, see, Tony Atlas wants to massage her feet. See, that was the work. Massage the foot. All right, well, your foot feel good. How about stepping on my face?
Yeah. And getting kicked in it, too. He likes getting kicked in it, too.
I seen that video of weeks ago.
If you ever see Tony say Kokomo Joe, he'll right away know it's me. I was driving the ring truck for the Savoldis, and Tony would ride with me because he didn't drive. Billy Silverman usually drove him everywhere because he came from Maine, and that's actually where their video company came from, out of Maine. I forget the town actually, but anyway, so I would ride with Tony. We were going to the Catskills. If you worked with the Savoldis, I think you're familiar with the Pines, the Neverly, Cutchers, which is no longer there. But I was at Cutchers. No, it was the Pines with Tony, and there was a guy, but he called himself Kokomo Joe. He used to get his weed all the time. So it was the time we're leaving. I'm in the ring truck with Tony. We're getting ready to leave. He comes up to the truck. Tony, let me give you one more joint, which was great for us for the ride back to where the hell we were driving to. And he's like, just remember, when you come back here, you look for Kokomo Joe, and I will give you the best blowjob you ever had. I was like,
whoa!
I'm like, hold on. I looked at Tony. He looked at me. I'm like, So he gave Chris, give me one of those 8x10s because he wanted that joint. So I know he signed it 8x10. Kokomo Joe from Tony with a great big kiss. He do these big fat lips on it. Gave it to him. And he's like, oh, Tony, thank you so much. So we're just driving away. He goes, well, Chris, I really can't say much for that guy. I can't judge him. I jerk off on sneakers. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm right about this truck. Oh my God, we got 300 more miles to go.
Wow, man.
Chris, have you any stories about Vince Jr. from when you were working there? He's always an interesting guy.
All right. My first thing I ever did for the WWF was SummerSlam 90. I went to the Spectrum, which has been named like 700 times. And that was the retirement match for Dusty Rhodes with Sweet Sapphire and the Macho King with Sherry Martel. I was one of the 4 guys that carried him out on that Satan. Okay. So I'm at the Spectrum with my dad while he was still alive. My father never thought I'd amount to shit. And here he is. Mario, you remember the buffets. Get there at 1 o'clock so you get to the buffet. Otherwise, you're fucked. You remember those. So yeah, I'm at the buffet with my father. He was in his up in his 80s at the time. So he's there with me. I'm sitting down with all my friends, and Bobby Heenan walks in and he goes, "Holy shit, there's a weasel!" I'm like, "Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm never going to work for this company again." Everybody turned around. Saw it was an old man. So it was like one of those E.F. Hutton commercials. Might not make any sense to you. You're an island, but that's something that Tony Mancini, Jesus Christ. Mario, you might understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody was dead silent. They saw it was an old man. They saw, okay, whatever. Everybody started talking in. I was like, huh. And at that moment, I felt like Felix Auger from the article. Yeah. Huh. Thank God, a year later, I got called back. And that's when I was with Sonny Blaze, Brian Donahue, Mike Iorio, which was later called Primo Carnero, Al Phillips, Vito. You all know him as Little Guido, but back then he was known as Damian Stone, Gino Caruso, Kodiak Bear. I'm talking about guys that none of you know about. These are some of the guys that helped pave my way in this business. And just if there's any justice and there's any real justice in life, there'll be YouTube footage of these guys, because these guys were great. And
Gino Caruso's a great guy. He's a class guy. He's really great person. I like Gino.
And I had Brian Donahue on the show last year, actually, and he's coming back on with me and Mario next month.
So you tell Brian Donahue, I want to know how come he won't return my phone calls. Because now I broke in with him. I trained with him. Did Brian tell you about Joey's basement?
No. How about we do this, Chris? How about we ambush Brian Donahue with you next time as well, like we ambushed Mario?
Perfect. This is great. The only thing Mario didn't get was the reach around, but hey, brother.
Yeah.
Love.
Hey, well, listen, since I am his agent, I get 25% of that, just to let you know. Okay? I do on my cut.
So what, and it's not reach around for everybody. Holy crap.
Jobs for the boys.
I'll tell you what, I'll give him the reach around. I'll dry hump your leg as a bonus.
Yeah. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So how long were you in the WWE for?
Well, I went for SummerSlam 90. I was in there roughly 2.5 years, because at the same time I was working for them, I was also working for ECW with Todd Gordon and Eddie Gilbert. So Todd's like, "Come on, look, you're getting squashed on national TV. We're trying to put you over." I said, "Well, if you believe your top guy could go over there," I said, "Look, I'm just doing the job they're asking me to do." So that's when I made the choice to go to ECW, and I figured, okay, well, let me try to grow. Well, I should have stayed where I was.
You know what? I said it so many times in my lifetime through my career that Scott Wilder finally made a T-shirt out of it. So when people would say something like that to me, when they say, "Hey, you're getting squashed on TV," I go, "Yeah, I'm doing jobs on TV for the biggest wrestling company on the planet."
I told most of these guys, I said, "Listen, say what you want. You would trade places with me in a heartbeat." And I told, and look, me, when I went to high school, I never liked football. Well, American football, because if I say football anywhere else in the world, it's soccer. But I never liked football. Never liked it. I liked baseball. Just never liked football. I did gymnastics, wrestling, and drama club. So I was with the nerds. I was with the jocks. And I was with the stoners. So I blended in with everybody. But the football players didn't like me because I could do a full split, side to side, jab split. So I'm looking at him, let's go. What's the matter? Tight hamstrings, can't get down. Oh, I used to laugh at him. They call me a little faggot. Yeah, well, I saw a lot of these guys at high school reunion, and their wives were coming up to me. Oh, we saw you on TV. Could we get autographs for our children? Sure. I'm looking at these guys. They were high school football star. Look at you, loser.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Hey, where's your hair, buddy? Where's all your fucking hair, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I became a professional wrestler because I tried out for Cork for the hurling. I really wanted to be a hurler. I wanted to be on the hurling team in Cork, Ireland, but
I'm on the hurling team every Friday.
They wouldn't take me. They wouldn't take me, so I couldn't be.
They don't pay anyway. They don't pay. So
no, the truth of the matter is I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, but I didn't have that. So I became a professional wrestler instead. But
so you chose Plan B too, huh? Okay.
Yeah, well, baseball. In fact,
baseball,
I would talk often about baseball to Randy Savage, and I'd even talk more with Joey
Randy
Morella.
Was a pitcher, wasn't he?
He was a catcher. He was a catcher.
Joey Morella. Well, wait, please.
And I would talk more about. In fact, Joey and I would bring our gloves. We'd have a catch outside during the summer on the side of the WWF ring truck. Strongbow would go nuts looking for me. He'd go, "Where's Mancini?" Yeah. He'd go, "He's outside having a catch with Joey Morella," and he'd come out. He'd come out with that piece of paper. He'd come out with that piece of paper rolled up in his hand, Chief. He'd come out. He'd go, "Mr. Mancini, you here to play baseball or are you here to work?" I go, "I'm coming, Chief. I'm coming." You
know something? One of the things that I guess, oh God, and I think we lived in the best era because I remember Andre when he was in his final stretch when he was coming out with the Bushwhackers with those two walking sticks. And I remember he would sit in the back, drinking his French wine, playing cribbage, trying to steal everybody's money. And I remember I was headed to the gorilla position, and I'm moving at a pretty fast clip. All of a sudden, I come to a complete stop. I mean, Andre grabbed me by the arm and almost pulled my shoulder out of socket. Play. I'm like, play. I don't know how to play cribbage. Okay, that's my dog barking. My wife's probably home. And I'm like, and see Arnold Skolin, Rene Goulet, Tony Gurria, they're all the way waving. Oh, come on, go to Gorilla. I said, I'm sorry, I got to go to Gorilla. Oh, Jesus Christ, he'll take your money. Don't play cribbage with him. I said, I didn't even want to play. All right, let me move quickly just for a moment because I'm hearing my dog bark. Let me just make sure it's my wife that is home. Because if it's an intruder, you want you to
stretch him. Just stretch him out.
Stretch him. My wife has a machete next to her bed, and I have an axe with a point next to my bed. I'm an army guy. It's like I ain't going to jail for no damn BS. I'm going for Capital One murder, baby.
Well, I tell you, those are light weapons.
I'm just joking.
This guy's great, isn't he?
Yeah. Tremendous. I'm glad you had him on. I feel bad. I got worked with the background. I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful piano.
I've seen a few people use that background before. I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful place. I mean, I look like I'm in a ship here in this house. You know what I mean? It's like
I had the full screen so you can see like the curtain.
Well, listen, I've seen the Cheap Heat studio, so I've seen it in its full glory. Needless to say, you have children. Yeah.
Mancini, show us some of your toys you have at your desk. Wait a minute. Can you show them on film?
What color is it?
That one's a pump, ain't it? That one's a pump.
I don't have one of those. I probably should, but I don't. Hey, Maurice, how many women watch?
They don't
podcast?
make them that small.
Oh God. Maurice,
What happened
why
to
don't
your Goodfellas old man in the boat portrait?
Maurice, wait, why can't we have Cheap Heat, the dating game? Can we?
Because it'll be all men. I don't think any women watch these things. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
You know
just
what?
saying
Not
it
that there's
doesn't
anything
work for
wrong with
everyone.
that.
Hey, Mancini, you can't get the push now in this time of your life. So what's the big deal?
Oh,
I think
man.
I think we're going to have to get Chris back on again because like we've only about 10 minutes left on this show, but I think we can.
Listen, I just like to say that Paradise Alley has a show on the 18th of February in East Haven. Hope see a good show, a good crowd there for February 18th. And last time we had a sold out crowd, and hoping to sell it out again. So excited
like you
about
might have
that.
to book Chris.
What's that?
You might have to book Chris.
I'm gonna have to book Chris.
Yeah, well, look, reach out to me, brother. I'm also, just so you guys know, I may as well put it out there. My home / studio / whatever else will be the future home of the Evan Ginsberg Show. I'm not really sure what we're going to title it, but Evan's been one of my best friends for close to 30 years. Even though I wasn't in the wrestler movie, I wasn't in 350 Days, but I still love him. You know, I don't care if I'm not part of his stuff. I'm in his books. I'm cool with that. You know,
I've had Evan on the show as well.
What? Who? Wait a minute now. Who does the show on? Who does the show on Sirius Radio with Mark Henry and Taz? Who?
It's Busted Open Radio.
Yeah.
LaGreca.
Look, Dave LaGreca. I met Dave LaGreca. He was in Baltimore, and he was interested in having me on until I had heat with Mark Henry.
Until you started trashing the whole WWE roster.
Hey, Chris, did you see the 9 Lives of Vince McMahon on Vice TV? Mario was on that.
Yeah, I was on that. Somebody else was on that too, Maurice. Oh my God! How many times have you watched that now?
Have I?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I've just seen it one time. That's all.
Just one. That's it.
Yeah, it wasn't very good, was it?
Did your wife watch it with you?
No, she was working. It was very late at night.
Conveniently.
Yeah, well, you're on national TV, bro, all over the world.
I know. Just another day, though, isn't it?
The only downside to it was you were on with Mario Mancini, who's you know, it's gonna destroy the world, man.
Oh wow.
I mean, Sammy
imagine if they didn't like you there, buddy.
Sammy the Bull watched that 9 Lives of Vince McMahon and saw me on there and went, "You rat."
Wow.
Oh man, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know, as they say in life, the truth shall set you free.
And like they always say in life too, what you
well,
do
Mancini, that's kind of true because some of these signings, I guess, we'll be doing for free because nobody's going to come to our table.
No, I mean, I you know, maybe I become more popular because of it, Scott. You
God,
know,
I hope so. I hope so.
you know,
all publicity is good publicity.
Autographs 20, photo ops 20, combos at 30. Slap Mario Mancini in the face, $50.
You know, you got to offer the reach around and the VIP access.
Hey, listen, all I know is this. I had insomnia. I was going through TikTok and Ed Sullivan, not Ed Sullivan, Milton Berle was on there. And they said, "Tell me about Elvis Presley." He said, "I had Elvis Presley on before he did the Ed Sullivan show." He goes, and before he did my show after that, he said, and you know, you get fan mail. Well, I got pan mail. He goes, "You know what pan mail is? Negative mail." He goes, and after Elvis was on, I've gotten 500,000 pieces of fan mail saying what a disgrace. Uncle Milty, you put this man on TV. You should be ashamed of yourself. All kinds of negative things to Milton Berle. He went to the phone and he called Colonel Tom Parker and he said, you know what you have on your hands, Tom, with that Elvis Presley you have there? He goes, no, Milton, what do I have? He goes, a superstar. Even though it was all negative, that goes right to Maurice's comment. Any publicity is good publicity.
Mancini, I'm not paying you any more money. Don't try to make yourself difficult. Besides, I'm still waiting for my friggin' cheesecake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. After all the fans come and get my. After all,
hey, maybe we can sell cheesecake. We can make it up on that end. Who knows?
After all of the fans come to my table to get my autograph, and the day is over, I go like this. Well, Scott, how'd I do? And he goes, you can get a number 1 with a Diet Coke, but you can't get an apple pie. There's not enough.
Well, that sucks for you. They won't even give you ketchup packets with your fries.
You know, those fan fests are nerve-wracking because
that's why I don't go to them.
Unless you're like a really big star, you really feel like, you know, you're on the corner of Broadway with a short skirt on in Manhattan. You know, you're like, you know, you want them to come up and get your autograph. You know what I mean? You like you want them, in other words, to pick you up. You know, when they come to my table, I know they have already paid Scott, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And then the big thing is when some dude comes up and he's got a box and he's giving me like 25 encyclopedias, and he's down with his cash register, and I'm going like this, waiting for him to give me the, you know, it's okay. And it's like, and then I go, did these guys pay for all those? And he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. And I start signing away. So, you know, since my agent is on Cheap Heat with me now, next month's show, Maurice, my PayPal is Mario Mancini.
Yeah, make sure that's USD funds, okay? Not that stuff, okay? Don't be sending me 3 potatoes and a friggin' warm beer, okay? We don't take that, okay?
You get 3 potatoes and a Guinness.
Yeah. Actually, if you want to send me 5 dozen of eggs, we'll take that. They're kind of expensive.
Listen, that would be
when chickens are less expensive than eggs, we got a problem.
That would be me getting
You ain't kidding.
5 dozen eggs would be, you'd be overpaying for me.
So, all right. So instead of egg embryos, I'm just going to go for the full-grown chicken now. With it.
Listen, that's what they're doing now. A guy in Connecticut is renting chickens and chicken coops, according to the size.
My neighbors have chickens in their backyard, and they have
according to the size. It's cheaper to do that than to buy them. Listen, I'm going Saturday to buy them. 7.5 dozen eggs cost me $47.50.
Just for the record, anybody watching this, no, you cannot give me eggs from Mario Mancini's autograph.
What about Easter eggs?
But you can throw them at him. But you could throw them at him.
You can throw them at him for $20.
Scott, you know, it'd be
you gotta
funny.
pay to throw them at him, though.
You know, it would be funny if we were at the next convention and I got hit in the side of the face with an egg, and the person that was running away after throwing it was Vince McMahon.
Well, he better pay me $20. I don't care if
we should probably put you in the dunk tank. That would be
God. The things we do for love.
Hey, Chris, what are you doing on Monday, Chris?
On any Monday or just this Monday?
What are you doing this Monday?
Well, I mean, worked. I'm home. My wife just got in. My daughter's getting ready to get picked up from work, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to kayfabe and, you know, try to powder and not have to go in the car and take a ride. I'm up early in the morning. I'm actually I'm gonna get back to my regular routine. I haven't been in a while since the holidays, and my basement is messed up. But this is gonna give you an idea of what my regular day is like. I wake up at 1:45 in the morning, take my supplements. Wake up and get but the alarm goes off, 2:15, get out of bed, go downstairs. 45 minutes of cardio, get upstairs, take a shower, lay down for a little bit, relax, then get up, go to the gym, then go to work, my 10, maybe 12-hour day, and then come home every day. And I'm going to get back to that again because I'm going to get my body back to where it needs to be. Because I just, as a senior guy, as a guy, an old guy, I want to show the young guys, number one, your excuses are like assholes. Everybody has them, they all stink. And if a man of my age could have a man's body, then I'll tell you what, go away and come back to the business when you have a man's body. I look at the wrestlers of today and they're dragging 35 pounds of gear behind them on, cancel me, a little faggot bag with wheels. Sorry, but you're telling me you're a big, strong, tough guy. You're benching 600 pounds and deadlifting 1,200 and squatting 700, but 35 pounds of fucking gear somehow is a you can't carry it over your shoulder? Ah, the fuck out of here. I used to carry an 85-pound goddamn water plate on me and my gear. And that was only during my training for my sergeant training. They're dragging that gear. It's like you're telling me you're tough, but you can't carry your gear. Could you imagine Animal and Hawk dragging a little faggot bag with wheels? No. That would never happen. Never happen.
No.
Never happen. But now wrestling's all inclusive. It's all inclusive because I'll go right back again. Rewind tape. Go back to the boot. We bring the boot back. Bring back the real corny. And Mario, I'm gonna. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Tell me the truth. Real time corny wrestling school, $3,000, $1,500, non-refundable cash deposit up front. Get the boot. 50. So you come back, you pay the balance. You don't come back, well, guess what? That guy just made $1,500.
That's right.
And I can tell you what, that's the way we separated the men from the boys.
I tell my students all the time, it's current days, but when we went to wrestling school, you got tortured because they needed to weed out the people, that weren't meant for the business. It was pure torture.
And it had to be. It had to be. Would you agree that back when we broke in, could you equate that to being jumped into a street gang? Because
oh yeah.
Do you remember who Mark Kendall was, Mario?
No, who was that?
Remember Kitty Adams? That was actually her husband. He was the guy who trained me to break me in. He's a good friend of Mick Foley. He ended up getting assassinated. That's another story. But he broke in Sonny Blaze. I'm sure you remember Sonny Blaze, Brian Donahue, Mike Iorio. All of those guys went to his wrestling school.
Well, let me tell you something. All the guys that you're naming, especially Primo Canary, we needed a fifth box on here for the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy, because Big Daddy went around with all of you guys in those days. All of you. Do you remember Big Daddy?
Big Daddy, he went just as Big Daddy.
He was a manager. Big guy, bald, would always have a bow around his neck.
Oh, that gives. Look, too many drugs and things back in the day. It's I'm a '70s guy, so I'm lucky I survived the '70s. You want me to remember? Oh wow, that does sound familiar though. Bald head, bow tie.
Oh, well, no, he had a boa, the feather boa around. Yeah. He was around all those guys you're mentioning.
Oh God! You know what it is? I'll go to bed later. I'll wake up at like 3:00 in the morning. Like, oh yeah! Oh well.
Yeah, I hear you.
Look, guys understand that we, of course, did this because it was a passion of ours. We saw something and of course, because neither one of us were good enough at baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? It's in our blood. It'll never leave our blood. You know what I mean? It's with us for life. You know, that's the way it is. You know, that's the life of wrestling. And, you know, that's why I own Paradise Alley along with Paul Roman, Big Steve Tracy, and Paul Perez, because I wanted to stay in it. You know what I mean? I wanted to stay active in pro wrestling. So,
well, I think you would be proud of Team Splendid now. We're going to do a split. We haven't done it yet. All right. So don't tell anybody. And it's bittersweet in one way because it took something that was just a goof, and then all of a sudden we're getting strapped. I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy. You know, I'm at the time I was in my 50s.
There he is.
Oh yeah, I know that guy. Yeah. I remember him.
here's Big Daddy.
He sure is too.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh mezo, he could be one of the doggone Samoans. He's so
Yeah, that's a big dude.
Yeah, God. Well, you remember the Duke? Remember the Duke?
Yeah.
Not Duke the Pitbull Snyder. The Duke. I'm talking about the one that used to hang in ICW with the he was with Tony Rumble, Boston Bad Boy. The Duke.
Yeah, he was a heck of a guy, Tony Rumble.
Oh, I miss Tony every day. I think about this business because he was one of those guys that loved me. And actually, you may not know that there was a tag team that I used to be a part of a long time ago with Damien Demento. It was known as the Bums. We were like two homeless guys. Everything was based on, we wore under the hood. We came out, all tattered, all ragged, beat up. We had cardboard sign. We would wrestle for money, the whole nine. George the Animal Steel loved it, took it to Vince, and I think Vince didn't care for Demento. So that fucked me. But hey, whatever. It is what it is. That's just life in the big city. But I do know that, everybody said Demento probably was 5 years too late. If he had gotten there 5 years sooner, his gimmick would have been over. But he got there right when they were transitioning to the Attitude Era.
Right.
What's Demento doing these days? I haven't heard about anything about him in a long time.
Well, I was best friends with him for about 30 years. Right now, we had a falling out, and if he got hit by a bus tomorrow, I wouldn't give a fuck. And if he hears,
maybe you should have gave him a reach around. You guys would have still been talking.
Nah, I wouldn't have to give him the reach around. His brother was gay. He had enough of that growing up. He just
listen. I'm a little more discreet than that, Maurice. When I put the boots to somebody, I mean, this guy wants him to get hit by a bus.
No. The way I just got dismissed like I wasn't shit after everything I did for him. Nope. Don't care. And my thing is this: he tried to make a wrestling comeback at 50 and failed. I came back in my 60s and I was fucking over. Think about that, douchebag. He knows where I live. I'm an Army vet. They didn't deprogram me. Come get it. Come get it. I don't care. Don't care. I don't like people that are two-faced, that use people to get places, and everyone he knows he used.
Well, you sound like that guy from Northeast Wrestling that, the little guy, you could put a Guinness beer on his head if you didn't have a table to rest your beer on, that Mikey Lombardi there. You sound like. Yeah, I get it, man. Listen, you know what he told me when I opened up Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, because at the time he was doing it for 20 years. Use all your wrestlers like a herd of cattle. He said, and the only one you don't use like that is your champion. Everybody else is replaceable. And it's such a big thing now because our guys go over there and work. Not anymore. I mean, I just listen. I would never restrict any of the guys from Paradise Alley to where they can work, but Roma and I've just had it now. We've just had it. In fact, I'm thinking about going back to the JCC because he runs in Bethany, and I feel like booking a show the exact date when he runs Bethany, because Bethany is about 4 miles from where I'll be running my show. So I think I'm ready to pull events on him. See, if you were an independent pro wrestling company and you had a good advance, and back in the 70s and 80s, Vince heard about it, he would book a show the next town over, and he would just wipe your show clean. So, there is the Guardian Chaos Big Daddy right there, man. So,
if you may have missed it, we had a picture of you on screen there just a little while ago, Guardian of Chaos.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, this is so glad that you came on, man.
Love that you guys have morals. I don't know about that.
Well, if you're on the road with me, actually, if you're on the road with me in the 80s, you might think differently. If you go on the road with Scott Weiler, currently, you might think differently.
Yeah. Right, guys, I'm going to have to wrap this thing up.
All right, Maurice, it was a pleasure. All right, just one more time. The views of Cheap Heat and its guests are not the views of Scott Wilder Promotion. Okay. I just want to put that out there. So if anybody wants to beat anybody up, it's Mario Mancini.
The opinions and comments on Cheap Heat is not necessarily the opinions of Scott Wilder.
Well, I can guarantee that this video is not getting monetized anyway. That's for sure.
Well, hey, listen,
that's goddamn it, 12 cent down the drain.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen. What I'll do is what we could do is get some Tullamore Dew and do a couple of shots in your honor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I said the right thing, because if I said JMO, every Irishman I know says, lad, JMO too damn harsh. But that Tullamore Dew is like smooth silk.
Tullamore Dew is big over in the States. I seen it everywhere when I was in Dallas last year.
Oh, I was working construction, and one of the carpenters was an Irish guy. Huey, his name was.
Yeah.
I was telling Huey, I had a JMO. Lad. He's patting me on the shoulder. No, it's too fucking harsh. The JMO is like the Jack Daniels whiskey. Now, Tullamore Dew, I'm telling you, you'll never want another Irish whiskey again.
Yeah.
He's right. I love it.
Chris, I gotta wind this thing up for tonight, Chris, but I'd like to definitely get you on to talk again.
Well, Brian Donahue, because I gotta get him. Ooh.
Okay. You want to come in with Brian Donahue?
Oh, hell yes. Because he was like I said, he was one of the guys back when I was breaking in.
Mario, you need to have a word with this guy.
Sure. Well,
Guardian Chaos 1999.
Yeah. It's all love, because
I'm as confused as a baby at Hooters.
Brian wanted me to do stunt work.
I'll work on refunding that back to you, Big Daddy.
Yeah.
They take 52%.
You know what? Big Daddy is. He's really upset about the price of cat food has gone up recently. You know what I mean? And he's got a dog and a cat, and you don't know what he has to do now to feed the cat.
What the heck is a cat eating?
Well, I'm waiting for it to show up on the screen.
What do you want? Dial up? What the hell? Come on.
I don't know. Big Daddy might say it, but he might be home right now going, yeah, Mancini, I'm not putting that up. He might be saying that. I think my phone's going to ring when we go off the air. Yeah. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure until we see each other again. I appreciate it. Chris, it was a pleasure, man. What a pleasure it was having you on the show. I really appreciate it.
Look, this was a great surprise for me. And hit me up on Messenger. Let's talk about something. I think we'd have some fun, some old school stuff. Have some really good fun.
All right. I love to do that. I will definitely do that.
Well,
thanks, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.